do not get caught with your pants down. And I say that because it looks like altcoins and crypto is ready to explode. So in this video, I'm going to answer some of your most important questions, like what are the altcoins I am eyeing off right now? What are the altcoins, as a matter of fact, that are showing signs of strength? That is going to be answered in this video. But of course, before we jump into it, if you find yourself enjoying the content, learning something new, or you have a direct takeaway from this video, you can help support all I do with a like down below. Of course, make sure you subscribe with that bell turned on, and let's kick things off. So the market right now looks quite good, or at least Bitcoin looks quite good. Alts tend to always lag behind Bitcoin, so I am waiting here to see what happens in the short term. But right now we are just beneath all-time highs, and it looks like global M2 is showing signs here of continuing after the brief slump it did have around here, at least in what may possibly be August of this year, which is of course a very good sign considering Bitcoin's following global M2 pretty precisely right now. We also have a potential golden cross coming up. You can see here, we are about to cross back above the purple line, which is the 50-day SMA in blue, going above the 200-day SMA in purple. Historically speaking, the golden cross, as you can see here, always brings in some pretty juicy returns. You can see here it was about 60%. In a year before that, it was a lot more than that actually. It was around about 112%, so just over a 2x. And the time before that, the Golden Cross brought in some pretty good gains as well, 40% give or take. Now, we kind of had the hunch this was going to be the case around May 3rd, so I made some videos around that time as this yellow line here crossed above the orange line. It's just two shorter-term moving averages that gave me the hint we are likely going to see a future Golden Cross. So, of course, we can use shorter-term moving averages here to have a better idea of what may come in the future, and therefore, official golden crosses come through. We pair that with global M2, things are looking quite good, of course, right now. When these, moving averages, so the three bands I have here, the yellow, orange, and red, when they kind of condense and come together like this, and the year before that like this, which kind of comes around the time of the golden cross, you can see we do have an explosion in price. Okay, so this has been very historical. What I wanted to point out here on the Bitcoin cycle clock was just that normally this explosion comes after we see some of these cheap signals. So the green bars here mean that the Bitcoin price is relatively cheap. So this kind of comes after these green signals, and you can see over the course of the last 3 times this has happened, so 1, 2, and now 3, we're getting less and less green bars. That tells me possibly we may have a continuation here to the upside, ideally causing what I would hope to be alt season. And that would be Bitcoin's price breaking out of this very top trend line you can see over here. This top trend line, or at least Bitcoin's price, is within what's called the ascending channel. This ascending channel is what we see in every single bull run. Okay, you can see this happen back here in 2020. Bitcoin's price was in the ascending channel apart from the pandemic. Once it broke out of the ascending channel, what happened? We had Bitcoin dominance fall, which means we had alt season. The same thing happened back here in 2017. Once Bitcoin broke out of the ascending channel, okay, Bitcoin's price went crazy, but actually alts went up even more. We had the breakdown of Bitcoin's dominance. Again, the same thing actually happened back here in even 2013. So again, what I'm eyeing off, to be very specific here, is whatever the next move is, we need to break, I believe, $150,000 and stay above this trend line to actually go into any kind of alt season. Now, why I wanted to also pull the Bitcoin cycle clock up is because these red lines here, red means warning, okay? Dark red, which you can just see here, is actually overbought. And what that typically precedes is price going down because people take profit. The indicator itself, the Bitcoin cycle clock, has 16 on and off chain indicators to help us say, hey, is Bitcoin overvalued? Will people take profit? Will the price come down? Or again, if it's green or even blue, is it undervalued? Should we be buying right now because it's undervalued to where it might go? So again, the reason why I'm showing you this is because you can see 1 time here and 2 times here. This has happened as Bitcoin has touched the upper trend line. Okay, so if I toggle the Bitcoin cycle clock and I remove this, again, you can easily see here once we broke above this trend line briefly and we touched this trend line, we had red. So the move I'm eyeing off myself right now is Bitcoin breaking above this ascending channel here, and doing so when the Bitcoin cycle clock is ideally in orange or low red. So if I zoom way out for you guys, maybe you can see a little more clearly if you just pause the video exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, so all the indicator tells us is if people are in profit and if there is likely going to be a profit taking. That's how we see a rejection over here, particularly as well because it is on the upper trend. It's at a high resistance level already. Now, I could be here all day talking about Bitcoin and, you know, these ascending channels and its dominance and the Bitcoin cycle clock, but ultimately it all relies on these macro factors. These are very important to give us alt season, in my personal opinion. The global business cycle here, I think, relies on the bottom line, which is global liquidity. Typically, the highs in global liquidity precede the highs in the global business cycle, and that makes sense. As global liquidity ends up going up from money printing, low interest rates, whatever it may be, aka there's more money sloshing around the world, then of course the global business cycle will go up because people are spending that money on buying products, okay? And when they buy products, they typically have excess capital, so they want to put money into crypto, all right? Crypto is seen as an online digital coin casino. So we're only going to have alt season when people, retail, all around the world believe they have food on the table, food in the fridge, they have a roof over their heads, and they have money to spend. So what are the altcoins I'm eyeing off? Well, I have to make some very important points. Number one, I'm eyeing off coins that have performed well versus other altcoins. And I'll show you some charts about what I'm talking about here in just a second. I'm also eyeing off coins in top narratives, which I'll also show you here in just a second. Basically, I'm looking for the coins that have performed the best recently, okay, based on this recent Bitcoin rebound. I'm going to also give you guys some DCA, alpha, I guess, or some ways to look at buying these coins based on some, weighted averages. And I think most importantly, though, each of these coins I do have an interest in. Some I own, some I do not own. The simple reason is I don't buy a coin just because I think it's a good coin. I buy a coin because it's going to make me money, okay? So I own some, I don't own some, but I think objectively, they're all showing very good signs of strength right now. First of all, the narratives that I think are doing quite well right now are these four. So we have AI in red, we have layer ones in yellow, in orange we have made in the USA coins, and in green we have RWA coins. That I think is a really big focus of mine for this bull run, being centered around these narratives and ideally overlapping the coins in at least two of these narratives. For example, Ondo is a real world asset coin in green. It's also a layer one coin here in yellow. Okay, Render is a DPIN coin. It's also an AI coin as well. We don't have DPIN on this list, but that's an example, okay? So we want to overlap if we possibly can. It'll just perform better with these big narratives. Let's start off by talking about some very strong miscellaneous coins. So coins that aren't in those four narratives, but I think will do well and have shown they're doing very well right now. For example, Aerodrome Finance, okay, you can see here, the symbol I'm using is Aerodrome's market cap versus the total two. So all other altcoins, but excluding USDT and USDC, so stable coins. Every altcoin on this list, I will show this chart, but of course, their respective market cap. And I want to point out before I do that I'm missing a lot of really great smaller cap coins because unfortunately TradingView does not support some of these smaller cap coins with their market caps. For example, I cannot show you guys even Beam here on TradingView or their chart because again, there's no Beam, or I can't show you Plume, for example, when I would like to show you Plume because I know Plume's doing quite well at the moment, okay? So there will be some smaller cap coins I can't show you that are doing quite well. So let's just talk about the ones that are larger caps that I am seeing good signs on. And of course, Aerodrome is one of them. You can see here from the recent highs in October of 2024, it unfortunately fell quite a lot actually, about 70%. And again, this chart is comparing it with other altcoins. So it really did fall quite heavily. But of course, right now it's got a pretty decent rebound of about 50%. Now, I get it. That doesn't sound amazing. Like, oh my God, Aerodrome is still quite down. But every altcoin in the entire crypto market right now is down to a similar tune. So Aerodrome being quite a small market cap, around 300 million, I think this is doing quite well. And as you'll soon see with the next coin I'm going to show you guys, being Morpho, I think it's got something to do with Base and how the Base ecosystem is focusing heavily on tokenization, but that is for another video. So we have Aerodrome right here beneath this green line. This green line is again something I'll show in all the other altcoins as well. This is the time-weighted average price, or TWAP. The TWAP itself gives you a fair price of the coin based on price action over a period of time. And for each of these coins, I'm using a period of 6 months. The reason being is because I plan to sell these coins in the next 6 to 12 months. So it's the fair price over a pretty decent period. So you can see here, fair price of Aero is 74 cents. We are now beneath at about 65 cents. So relative to the next 6 months, it seems that Aero is a pretty good DCA opportunity. Next, as I said, is Morpho. You can see this chart here is a lot more interesting because Morpho is one of the very best coins I've so far found in terms of it didn't really fall all that much from the recent highs, actually, in about January/December, okay, of last year. And it's rebounded very, very well, okay? So up 66%. Now, again, this is a smaller coin, so it's not in the multiple billions of market caps, but again, it's lending, borrowing on Base. So it's got a pretty decent partnership here going with Coinbase. So there could be some good stuff on the horizon. And the great news is it's still beneath the TWAP here at about $1.60, where the TWAP is sitting at $1.90. So ENA is my next pick, and I actually don't own this coin, okay? It's an Ethereum play, it's staking, and it's a really, really quality project in my personal opinion. A lot of buzz about it, and I think this chart speaks for itself. It pumped a lot recently with the recent pump we saw in altcoins back in around September to December of last year, up about a 5.5x. Crazy stuff. It fell down not all that much either, about 60%, so relative to other altcoins, not as bad, and it rebounded here very well. So that, of course, shows a lot of strength. It rebounded a 2x versus other altcoins. And again, really good news here. It's actually still beneath the TWAP, well beneath the TWAP here. So if you are looking to make some entries in, Athena, it might be a decent time here. Non-financial advice, of course. Do some more digging yourself into the coin, where it's used, why it's useful, and you may find yourself buying or maybe holding off for a little bit longer. The first narrative we'll quickly discuss here are the AI coins. What coins am I looking at right now that, again, have shown signs of a strong rebound? This is the coins I'm eyeing off. I own a whole bunch of coins on this list, guys. But again, these are the ones that I'm showing you that have had a lot of strength recently. And you can see AI coins have really suffered, and most of them actually still are suffering. From the market cap high of $70 billion, they lost most of that, $24 billion. They lost, again, a tremendous amount, and they really haven't recovered it that great, to be honest with you, $37 billion. And I think the reason why is because it is such an oversaturated area of the market right now. It's hard for most people to kind of pull away the wheat from the chaff. So that kind of leads, when the market falls, at least I do believe, sell-offs, because people just don't know the coin that they own, and so they just want to get rid of it. They bought it just because of the hype, basically. It's kind of like meme coins. You can see a direct competitor here being RWA coins, being at a very similar market cap where it went to it at highs of 72 billion, fell down here to 39 billion, but now it's recovered back here at about 56, 57 billion. So a much different story, much more strength in RWA coins. And I think the reason is because there are a lot less players. It's a much easier time picking the best horse. So in my opinion, there's only really two super strong coins in the AI area. Again, there might be some smaller cap coins like Flux, like Aether, that I am eyeing off and love, and there are many others as well. But like in terms of the large caps that I can actually show you guys today, it seems Tau, which is this chart right here, is the strongest AI coin right now, period. Like whether you love it or you hate it, it's still showing signs of strength. So from its recent highs, it did fall down about 66%, but again, the rebound here was quite strong, so 77%. Still a long way to go. I've got Bitcoin's chart here in the background just to show you this, but it is the best AI coin, even though it still has a long way to go, okay? And I'll show you why here in just a second, but I'm just using Bitcoin's price in the background just to show you, it seems based on history, Potenza is actually pumping before Bitcoin. So you can see here, Potenza still, in this case, actually pumped before Bitcoin. It went up, again, even based versus other altcoins, 72% when Bitcoin had this initial move recently. okay, breaking out from lows. So when it went from about 78,000 to about 95,000, and the same story back over here, okay, it went up again versus altcoins at 2.5x, when Bitcoin kind of only went up here from about 52,000 to 65,000. So there's obviously something here with Potenza, and I will do more research. Right now, though, it is above the TWAP. So, of course, if you're wanting to buy this coin, at least I would be interested in buying this coin. In my opinion, it's just not worth buying. You know, while it might go up a lot higher than here, my idea and my philosophy is look at these coins as vehicles or like a taxi. If the taxi, like Potenza, has already left the taxi rank, don't chase after it because you'll end up getting run over. Look for the next taxi. Look for the next opportunity because there's always one around the corner, and that is Render. Now, Render from its recent highs, you can see over here, didn't actually fall as much as Potenza, so that is saying something, and even the rebound here was quite good at about 72%. Right now, it's a little bit less than what Potenza is. Okay, it's about 37%, but it's right there. It's very, very close to Potenza, and I think, given the fact that the TWAP right now is about on even with the actual price, that taxi is right in front of us. So like I said, you can run after and try to chase these pumps as they're happening, or you can look for the next opportunity. Again, there's a lot to assess, more than just what I'm talking about here, but again, I'm eyeing off both of these coins depending on what happens next. Now, here's what I'm talking about when I tell you guys that most AI coins, again, the ones I can assess for this video, are actually very weak versus the altcoin market. And that's like this. ICP, you can see here, has been constantly bleeding since January of 2024, but more recently here, around September of last year when most coins were pumping, it's been bleeding. Again, its dominance versus the altcoin market. So that's a bit of a shame. I still believe in ICP. I think this coin will do very, very well this bull run. But I have to call a spade a spade. You're lying to yourself if you tell yourself that this chart is somehow bullish. It is not bullish, but again, it's crypto. It's an altcoin. Things can turn around very quickly. And again, the same can be said here for Near Protocol. Why I think this is so important for me to show you guys is because while Near Protocol and ICP are very, very strong coins, imagine what other AI coins are showing on their charts right now, coins that are much weaker than ICP and Near Protocol. So all I'm here to tell you is, again, the strength showing on Potenza and Render cannot be ignored. You must consider this right now, again, especially because if alt season is around the corner, if we do break above the top trend line in the ascending channel, then these coins should react the best. Next up is RWA. Again, I won't spend too much time here. You guys know there is less competition in RWA, more quality picks to choose from, and that's why I think people can immediately see, hey, my coin has something to prove here. It's got something to actually show. It's got a unique selling point versus the rest. It's not just doing what everything else is doing, which is like incorporating ChatGPT or an AI prompt into their marketplace or something like that, right? Where it's kind of overused. So the first coin here is Chainlink. And again, Chainlink's doing quite well at the moment. It actually never really fell all that much from the altcoin pump we had back in Q4 of last year. It's only down 25%. But of course, only being down 25%, it also isn't up that much either. It's pretty much break even from the lows as well. So I think it's doing quite well. I think Chainlink is like a mega underrated altcoin for this cycle. It is actually just beneath the TWAP as well. So this is another really good sign to see. And I think people will catch on to Chainlink. I think those of you who are Lincoln Marines, who are in this community, you're frustrated right now because the coin isn't doing anything based on like massive announcements. I think give it time. Let retail catch on. The same can be said for HBAR as well. HBAR actually has this nice level of support right here. But again, you'll find the same here with XLM in just a second. And when these coins pumped up recently, have these massive gains, again, they dominated the altcoin market, you can see here. But that actually means that when we look at the actual price itself, even though the price is beneath the TWAP, so it would be a decent DCA, guys, if you are buying, HBAR or again, like I'll show you here in a moment, XLM right now, unfortunately, you are competing with the guys buying down here at 5 cents. And what that really means is that, when this coin goes to $1, HBAR goes to $1, okay, if you buy right now, you're looking at a 5x. Guys buying down here at roughly speaking 5 cents, they've got a 20x in the tank, okay? So they're going to likely sell, and there's going to be a bit of a sell wall at around $1 and $1.50 or $2, these massive sort of milestones. So again, keep in mind when buying the coin, it can be beneath the TWAP, But of course, look at a little bit, in the past, look into recent price action and determine why are you buying the coin? Does this vehicle fit my goals? If you're looking for a 20x and buying HBAR, well, you should be buying back down here. Look for the next altcoin in this area that can give you those sort of multiples. It hasn't yet run, okay? So I'll leave it there. Now, XLM, of course, is the next coin, a very similar chart here in both cases to HBAR, so I won't talk too much about it. It's the same exact situation that's played out. It's just got signs of strength. Okay, again, beneath the TWAP, good time of DCA if you are in the coin already. But again, guys, it could potentially be a little dangerous if you are someone just getting in for the first time, expecting high multiples. Look, if you're here looking for a 3, 4, or 5x, then maybe it's decent. But if you're here looking for a 15 or a 20x on these coins, you're running the risk. You're running a very, very big risk. Now, lastly, I cannot forget layer 1 altcoins. Layer 1 will always do well because without layer 1 altcoins, you pretty much have no cryptocurrency. You can't have DeFi without infrastructure. You can't have a lot of these applications like Athena, for example, without a layer 1 itself. So that's why this will always find demand. You can see here Solana has done very, very well, holding its own. I think this coin could possibly be a super coin of the cycle in the sense that you can see the strength has held up quite well, but it tends to kind of pump and move more so with Bitcoin than it does with altcoins. Okay, in saying that, it also does go up with altcoins, so it's kind of getting the best of both worlds. But I'm not going to pull up the TWAP and talk about Solana because I just don't think there's that much potential in this coin. I mean, if you're looking for a 2x, maybe it's okay, right? But again, I don't think most of us are here for a 2x. The next best coin is Cardano. Okay, you can see here ADA's held up again very, very well from the recent highs back over here in November of 2024. Again, it hasn't really fallen all that much, 16%. And again, it dominated the market back then. Okay, dominated. From the recent lows back in February, it's done quite well to recover. You can see over here at about 20%. There were some new lows put in over here, of course, around, March-ish. But again, it hasn't really fallen all that much from there. So I think ADA has a pretty decent spot on the table here. It is exactly in line as well with the TWAP. A similar story to that of HBAR and XLM. I mean, people were buying this coin way back down here. So just keep it in mind, again, you're buying the coin at 80 cents. Okay, if the coin goes to $8, for example, the guys buying back down here at 30 to 50 cents are going to be in substantial more profit than you. So if you're buying these coins that have moved, that are large market caps, keep in mind, look for less multiples, be safer, don't overextend your welcome, or get the next taxi, right? Now, the next coin is SUI, and this coin has done exceptionally well over the last few months. You can see back here, since August of 2024, this coin has done a total of a 7x versus the altcoin market. And as a matter of fact, via all the turbulence, you can see here, SUI went, you know what, screw you, we're going to still perform very, very well. So again, I do think as alt season comes online, SUI is one of the top, especially layer 1 altcoins to keep an eye on. But unfortunately, it is above the TWAP right now. So I personally wouldn't be getting my first entry into SUI unless I had a position in SUI somewhere down here and it was DCAing quite lightly. I wouldn't look to get an entry. That's not financial advice. That's just what I would do. You can always customize the TWAP as well to give you a much more fairer valuation of kind of like what you're aiming to hold the coin for. Like, for example, if you wanted to hold the coin between 3 to 6 months, then you may want to look at the 3-month mark here, which gives you a bit of a different perspective on a fair price for the coin. So the lower time frame you go for the TWAP here, of course, it resets more frequently. So you're likely to find that these coins are above these markers quite a substantial amount depending on that time frame, okay? So again, give it some perspective, and these are just ways that you can look to DCA into these quality coins. Like I said, all of these coins are showing a lot of sign of strength based on how they went from the recent lows, or again, maybe how they didn't fall all that much from the recent highs. So with that all being said, everyone, let me know your thoughts down below. I want to repeat myself here because I know I'm going to get flogged down below by some people. I own a lot of the coins on this list. I also don't own a lot of the coins on this list. I couldn't show a lot of the coins I think are doing very well, like Plume or Flux, for example, or Aether, just simply because they're not offered in the TradingView market cap listings. Okay, if they do come online, I'll most definitely show you. But until then, thank you all for watching this video. I'll talk to you very, very soon. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.